Trust me that the state capital in California or any other state, all right, or any other state that's going through these heat waves, trust me that the governor's office is air conditioned and they're not getting any rolling blackouts in their buildings. I don't even live there, and I can tell you that right now. That is a fact. When the circumstances of the decisions that they make for you or make for us fail, it is not them that suffer, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, the average citizen. So it is up to you to take those steps necessary to protect yourselves against their decisions. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say that you have a house that is powered by solar panels or even wind turbines, right? Let's say you have one of those little 400 or 800 watt wind turbines and you have solar panels, and those two things, they power your house most of the time, pretty much all of the time, right? But you're still hooked up to the grid just in case those things fail. So now let's say that you go ahead and disconnect from the grid, put up those alternative powering or green energy devices to power your house, and then let's say they fail. Where are you going to get your power? And that's my point. That's the point that I want to put out for this article here that I'm about to read to you all. In California, they have legacy power generating systems that are carbon based. Well, they just put them offline. And now they only rely mainly on these green power generating systems like solar panels, hydroelectric power, and wind turbines. That's what they rely on. But what happens when those systems fail? What happens when the sun goes down? What happens when the dams are too low that they're not generating as much electricity as they used to? All of those things are happening, ladies and gentlemen, now, and they're finding out that had they left their legacy power generating systems online, that they would have been able to at least use them as a backup. But instead, they just went to their green energy 100% of the way in most cases and left those legacy power generating systems in the background sitting idle. Now why, ladies and gentlemen? Why is this? If you have something that you know works, why would you not keep it online just in case? We all saw what happened in Texas back in February where they had that deep freeze, and we saw how their green alternative power generating systems failed and they had to suffer. A lot of people actually died of hypothermia and died of the cold because they didn't have enough power to power their homes and power their heaters, or because the power system went down. I caution everyone that lives in these states that are having really big heat waves this summer. I caution you, consider getting a generator and a small air conditioner that will at least keep one room in your house cool. That way, if the power goes out because of decisions that your elected officials made on your behalf fail, when the circumstances of the decisions that they make for you or make for us fail, it is not them that suffer, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, the average citizen. So it is up to you to take those steps necessary to protect yourselves against their decisions. I got an email yesterday, and I was very happy to hear what they said. They told me, thanks to you, we went ahead and got a generator. And now we don't have to worry about rolling blackouts because we have an alternative power system that we can generate enough power to run those things that are necessary for us to live in our home. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my opinion, but my opinion only. I feel that every single family home or every single family unit in the United States should have a backup generator, even if it's one of the small ones, because it can definitely save your life. Here it says, maybe it's time to admit that the whole green energy push is one big farce. Well, maybe it is or maybe it's not, but does that really matter? That's my point. Does it really matter if it is or not? Your actions should be taken dependent on your personal needs, your family's needs. So if your family's needs are not being met because of whatever agenda is being pushed, then you need to take the proactive measures that is necessary in order for you to ensure that your family needs are met during times of crisis. 6 months after a historic failure in the Texas power grid, which collapsed when various renewable sources of electricity failed concurrently and dragged down the entire network, California realizes it is about to get Enron, meaning that prices are really going to go up for electricity, and has made an urgent request for additional power supplies to avoid blackouts this summer. State energy officials asked the California Independent System Operator, which runs most of the grid, to contract for additional power capacity for July and August on concern it won't be able to meet demand during the evenings when solar production fades. California is using all available tools to increase electricity reliability this summer. The head of the California Commission, California Public Utilities Commission, and grid operators said, citing unprecedented climate change-driven heat events which are occurring throughout the West in combination with drought conditions that reduce hydroelectric capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I tell people that they shouldn't be talking about politics. Why? Because it doesn't matter what side you're on. All right, there's only one side, and it's their side. That's it. It doesn't matter how many wings there are on the bird. There's only one head that controls the entire bird. Same thing here. It doesn't matter who you blame it on or what you blame it on. What matters is reality. And the reality is that it's going to be hot in these parts of the country. So you need to prepare for that. You can blame it on whatever you want, but it's going to be hot. And already more than 200 people have died because of this heat. And more will because they're not prepared. And it's saying here that California again blamed global warming. But if you know there is global warming and you suffer one nightmarish summer in the dark because of it, can't you extrapolate at least a year into the future? Meaning that if you know that what did not work for you last year, if you know that the measures that you took last year did not work during the hottest parts of the month, why didn't you fix it for this year? Why? Because you're just concentrating on blaming it on something instead of doing your jobs, legislators, and making sure that your citizens that you tax to death have the things that they need to live a somewhat decent standard of living. Their statement underscores California's challenges in the coming month as it begins summer already parched by drought that's leaving hydroelectric reservoirs at historic lows. The state narrowly avoided rolling power outages recently as extreme heat came early this year. And with few new generation sources on the immediate horizon, supplies tighten when hot weather hits. California has taken a number of steps, including adding battery storage, to prevent blackouts such as those in August when demand overwhelmed the grid. However, the state has grown concerned that the increases are not enough, according to their letter. Procuring additional capacity, quote, is taken out of an abundance of caution to ensure electric reliability and preserve public health and safety for all Californians, the officials said. Their letter also cited delaying availability for some thermal power plants and said some resources expected to be running during the hottest months have not been delayed. Supply challenges are mounting less than a year after a heat wave forced the state's first rolling outages in 2 decades. And meeting demand is likely to be even harder this year because long-range forecasts call for above-average temperatures through September. What is remarkable is that even Bloomberg, which has been a crusader to crush non-green sources of power, admits that California's problem is the state's aggressive push to cut carbon emissions by shifting to renewable energy. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're all about renewable energy, that's great. But you should always have a backup. Always have a backup. Many gas-burning plants have closed, which means electricity supplies tighten at sunset as the production from solar generation fades around sundown. What's more, big batteries being built to store solar power during the day and resupply the grid in the evening won't be available by August and September, the state's hottest months. Ladies and gentlemen, these big batteries that they're building, they have a lifespan of only a few years, especially with the draw that is put on them. In short, it's time to admit that California's green push has been a complete disaster and is about to leave millions of people in the dark during hot, sweaty days, leading to countless deaths. And that's where I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen. It is your responsibility to go out there and get a backup to the system for which you rely. It is your responsibility to get that backup because the state or the government is not going to send it to you. And to end it off here, it says the short-term strategy needs to be centered around incentivizing demand reductions instead of increasing supply. So listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Incentivizing demand reductions. How do you incentivize people to use less? You charge more or you ration. That's how you incentivize people to use less. You charge more for that product, which in this case is electricity, or you ration. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go ahead and leave it at that. I hope that some people are taking heed to the warning. It is up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to protect yourselves against the decisions that these people who have been elected to represent us make on our behalf. Trust me that the state capital in California or any other state, all right, or any other state that's going through these heat waves, trust me that the governor's office is air conditioned. And they're not getting any rolling blackouts in their buildings. I don't even live there, and I can tell you that right now. That is a fact. Having said that, thank you very much for joining in. I hope some of you got something out of this. I hope that if you live in those heat-stricken states, that you protect yourselves by getting a backup for your electrical power needs, and at least having one way to cool at least one room in your home. That way, if you are hit with rolling blackouts, that you are able to keep cool and not become a statistic. So hope to see you there. Other than that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper. I am out.